Hello survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video we are playing a Holy Crusade Paladin build. Now I say it's Holy Crusade because the main focus is on the Holy skill Light Beam. That is our main damage dealer, but we kind of switched the build up and got ourselves Carnage, so we are very happy with that as well. So very good. Now what the build is it is actually going to be running Heroic Strike, Scent of Blood, Shield Wall, Light Beam, Exorcism, and then Carnage is supposed to be Might, but I thought the extra bleed is going to work exceptionally well with Scent of Blood and being Swing as well. And then the main damage dealer for the build is going to be Light Beam, so grabbing a lot of lasting and empowering upgrades is going to be essential here. So as you can see, we are at the end of the Overlord mode cycle 1. We are going to go in and keep going until we die. We could probably get to a very high Overlord cycle with this build, probably something like 8, 9 or 10 or even higher if you're good at dodging, which you know I'm not really good at that. But what makes this build very fun is 1, the damage, but 2, the Paladin's passive. So as you can see, it does build there, but because the red AoEs kind of follow your character in a sense, you can kind of path towards this quite safely without getting hit. So that's exactly what we do. We move away from it and we path back into it as it's about to spawn, and then we get some huge insane stats. We get huge crit chance and crit damage. We get 50% increased armor. We get which I want to see is that multiplied. So our armor right now is 1257 with shield wall up. We will see what it is with both of them down and then what it is with just shield wall up, because I believe this increases it by 50%. It doesn't just add 50% of the value. So the same with our damage. As you can see, our damage is on 202. We will see once this is off whether or not it is 95% multiplicative or additive, but it does usually be additive or multiplicative. I don't know which way to you know, kind of make it a bit better to understand, but we get the flat damage bonus. So it's a huge thing to get his passive. You can see even on Overlord cycle 2 we just completely melt the bosses. Let's just wait for the passive to go down and then we can take a look at it. But we do want things like our potency over here and cast speed for Scent of Blood, very important. Potency on shield wall is awesome. Area of effect for lasting is great as well. And then let's go and see now. So there's the end of the passive. Let's take a look. So our damage is 55%. So I don't know how it works, but getting that pushes us over to 200% damage, which is huge. Our armor right now is only 898, so we did go up to above 1,000 and something as well with that armor. So very big buffs over there. Very good to grab them. Some other skills that are worth getting as well, if you can't find, let's say, Scent of Blood, or if you can't find Shield Wall, I do recommend you retry. They are very important over here. But if you don't get something like Carnage, grabbing the Might is going to be fantastic. But if you don't want Might and you wanted another skill, Blade Storm is also very strong because it hits really fast and really hard. So you do get huge amounts of damage from that. So I did actually do this yesterday. I got to Overlord 6 without Scent of Blood, only using Shield Wall, and my Blade Storm actually dealt more damage than my Light Beam. So there are different iterations. You kind of got to go with what you feel is the best one to go for and go from there. We're going to just grab that. Area of effects, fantastic. Grab ourselves more movement speed. We don't really, I mean, armor is fantastic because of shield wall. I think block is also actually really good. If we could grab ourselves as much block as possible, that's going to be fantastic. I actually want both over here, cast speed and the multicast over there. So really, really good. If we can get a 0.2 second cast speed on our light beams, that would be great. Jump in there. We didn't manage to get it, unfortunately. A very, very close one, but let's keep going. So there we go. We got our passive. We don't even have to worry about anything being close to us. We could even just stand by this wall, and you can see things are dying off of screen. So very, very strong. Does that mean bosses die very quickly? Of course it does. As you can see, these bosses just melt. So there's the wave of bosses. Didn't even know they existed. And we've got 7 more skill points to work on. So again, just run into there. As we get higher into the Overlord cycles, it does become a lot harder to get into these, but you do need to just try and get your pathing right. And it's just a fun mechanic to work on while playing the game. It's a really, really interesting one, and it leads you to try and do different things. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do this with other characters. I know a lot of people don't like the Paladin because you have to kind of move in, weave out of things, but I have found a new love for his passive now because of this, and it's just really, really strong. The actual passive itself is insanely strong, so definitely worth getting into it. I don't know why I didn't lock that, my bad, but it is what it is. Grab that. Some more cost frequency, that's fine, we can take that. You know, our scent of blood is now up all of the time, which is fantastic. It has such a low cooldown itself from a really, really high cooldown, and being up all the time is going to be really, really useful, because now our cast frequency for our shield wall is really, really low, and that means we're going to have armor up all the time without it actually having a cooldown. So the only time it would have had a cooldown is if Scent of Blood was on cooldown, and as you can see, it is on an 8.3 second. That is actually because of our Pulse of Agony that it is getting under 8.3. So let's keep going and let's see how far we can take this build without dying. Okay, potency, multicast. I don't think we're actually going to speak about the upgrades we are going to just make them go very, very quickly, and we'll probably skip a lot of, you know, just what upgrades we went for and things like that. We might even just fast forward till like Overlord 8 or whatever one we get to, and go from there again just to see where it goes, because it's going to be the same thing over and over again, the same upgrades and everything like that. And you know, we want you guys to watch as much of it as possible, but at the same time I don't want you to bore you to death with the same thing over and over again for about 20 minutes when we can just show you how strong the build can be without really worrying about it. But one of the best things about having a lot of area of effect is you don't have to worry about where your mouse cursor is. You don't have to focus about where on the bosses. You can just focus on where your character is and staying alive, and you should be able to kill them regardless of where you're aiming, which is fantastic. Alright, so you can see bosses melting, fantastic, all due to our passive. Let's keep going. I think the reason people like this build more on the what's his name, the Barbarian, is because of his passive, but it is just really nice to see a nice Overlord run where we aren't using the Barbarian like we usually would. So really, really nice to get ourselves another one. If we are going to take one more cast frequency, and then we are going to actually get rid of them now, because we no longer need the cast frequency on our Scent of Blood. So what it is going to do now is actually just become null and void. We are under its actual duration. There is no more need for cast frequency on it, but we'll see what happens, because as you can see, it's a 5.6 second cooldown with a it happening every so often. So we can actually banish that. That's going to make it so that we're going to see the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the cast frequency. We're going to see the potency ones now only. So that's going to be great. The only time we're going to see our upgrade is going to be on a potency 1, so that's going to be fantastic. Alright, we are unfortunately getting some frame drops over here, which is quite hectic. It's probably because of Carnage. Maybe we can actually get rid of Carnage now. We should have enough, what's the wording I'm looking for? We should have enough damage. So let's go, and we're going to replace Carnage. We are going to go and take Mart. That is the proper build, and that's going to help me with my FPS as well. As you can see, it's already 100 times smoother. Carnage just kills it quite a lot, especially with the multicast and all of that. But our main damage was supposed to be from light beam, so let's go and get that. Let's see how far this goes. We do the change up a little bit, and then we're going to finish this, and we're going to go through the portal, and I'll see you on the other side at the final wave. What I mean by final wave is if I die in, let's say, wave 7 or something, then that's where we'll start it, because that's where we're going to have to keep going from. Also, Mart is much better than Carnage in a sense that it gives us that 175% increased damage modifier, and then that on top of our passive, it's just huge amounts of damage in short bursts. It's just really fantastic. It's a lot of damage. It's up all the time, so it's always permanent damage as well, and you can see what it does to these bosses. And it's also a smooth experience because light beam doesn't necessarily lag out your game too much. So I'm gonna get back to you guys now on the final wave, so we'll see you there. We are back. We're on Overlord wave 7 now, or cycle 7. Things are hectic here. It's actually quite difficult to even get your passive up and running, which is very interesting. It shouldn't be that way. Right now you can see we struggle to kill the first set of things, but that's only because we don't have our scent of blood up. As you can see over there, we did actually get hit by one of the bosses, and that made it difficult for us to get our passive. We did get knocked out of it. Right now we just got to kind of move like that. We do have a lot of armor, a lot of shielding, so we are able to tank a hit or two. Again, like that, we do just kind of land up getting knocked out of it. We do have to kind of be mindful of our pathing, which makes this really fun on the Paladin. You do actually have to concentrate on your gameplay, but as you can see, it's not impossible to get your passive. We can get it. There we go. We got it up, and you're going to see now we are going to just completely annihilate absolutely everything. Huge amounts of stats. Let's just show you everything quickly. We have 841% increased damage, 222% crit chance, which also then gets moved to our crit damage. So we actually have 900 essential crit damage modifiers, to nearly 3000 cast frequency. Huge area. Multicast is 100%, and that's not taking into consideration the multicast on the actual skills, which is another 252%. We have nearly 93% armor reduction over there. Our block is also on nearly 50%, so we are in a fantastic spot with regards to all of that. We did only really grab this so that I can speak to you about it. Otherwise we normally only grab the power-ups after the actual run and not through it, because, well, it's more fun that way for me. We don't really have to concentrate on anything but killing everything, because as you can see, we just have so much going on our screen. Our passive has run out now, so now we can focus on it more. Again, there we go. We already got one of them. Don't want to get caught on trees and things like that. There was a Kamehameha. We got knocked up, unfortunately, so we couldn't grab that passive. So this is why your pathing becomes very important. But everything, you remember, like your League of Legends, your Vampire Survivors had a lot of hyper mode and things like that. Well, you can consider the Overlord cycles over here a hyper mode for the game. It's just crazy how fast everything goes. The Kamehamehas from Prophetess and things like that. And if you didn't have Scent of Blood and Shield Wall, we probably would have died on Overlord Cycle 6. but even getting 2 Overlord cycle 6 is really good without the scent of blood. So there's 7 done and dusted. It takes like a couple of minutes and then you're done. And even there we were able to dodge through or dodge the final one hit KO from our presence, the void presence. And if you do land up getting yourself as much block as possible, there is a chance to actually block that attack from her. So that's why we are going for block over here. We are just taking the defensive skills right now, and then if we don't have anything else, we do go for our merciless as well as some crit if we do find some really nice ones. But I mean, look at our movement speed, it is insane. Going on into the next cycle, let's see how far we can go. I hope YouTube doesn't like just the codex make us completely bug out while trying to do this, but you can see how much damage we even take just from a normal minion now. It is really insane. We're not hoping to go really far because we do just want to show you guys the build, and that's what we've done already. So if we do die, that's going to be fantastic, and let's just keep going and see where it goes. We are fighting 60 bosses per run now. That is a huge amount. There are going to be a lot of crystals for us to gather. Okay, I didn't see that one spawn over there, so unfortunately we couldn't go and get it. But there's the next one. Just stand in there for a second. Definitely shield wall, keeping us alive to the point where we can actually do that. Getting more dodges would be more than perfect or practical over here. Being able to grab them is going to definitely make it a lot easier on us. What's really funny is actually, if we look over here, we need how many kills? Well, we've got the bosses spawned, so I can't actually tell you, but we'll look at it when we get the next time to, and you'll see that we actually, by the time we've killed all the bosses, the next bosses have spawned, if that makes sense. So it's really funny. It just becomes really chaotic. It becomes kill bosses more than minions themselves, and it literally just becomes us trying to kill that many bosses. And the reason why bunnies was so strong is because they just nuked bosses, like completely destroyed them. So the fact that there are other builds that, oh no, we got caught in the corner there and death was on top of us. I was not paying attention to death, and that caused us a great deal of pain. So that was very unfortunate, but it is what it is, and I am struggling to grab the passives now, so that's also a bit of a problem over there. There's a free one over there for us, but as you can see, we are already getting the yellow crystals from bosses, which means that was the 3rd boss wave. This should be the 4th boss wave now. And it's just insane if you think about it, just how many bosses are actually spawning. The fact that by the time we've killed the 3rd wave of bosses, the 4th one is already waiting for us. So there's green crystals already, and by the time we finish this, we'll be on the next set of bosses as well. So even though it's taken me about 31 minutes to get here, the actual length of each wave gets slower and slower, or even harder and harder. So I'm gonna end it over here. It's just because I can, but the actual you can get a lot further in this, if you want to. So you can see I don't actually die, or I don't die very quickly. And even if we stand still, we can take a good beating for a good second or two, and then if we start moving around, we heal it all up anyway. So it's just taking a really long time. There's no need for me to push any further, but for you guys, if you do need the kills, or if you need prestige on the Paladin or anything like that, definitely do it on him. Another nice one, you could do this on a lot of characters. You do just need to hit yourself some of those really good skills. I do wonder if you could do something similar on the Arcane Weaver as well. We will take a look at that as our next build project for an insane Overlord run. So we'll have a look at that. One of the things that also a lot of people don't like is how all of these are in the way over here for when you are trying to mouse over it. But you know, it's much of a muchness. We really need to get our passive over here, because it's starting to really become difficult to kill these guys. Although we have killed quite a few of them already, so not that it's difficult, but they're just not dying as quickly as one would want them to. So I need to get into this passive. There we go. Just one more and we will certainly completely destroy them. So there we go. Time for you all to die. Fantastic. Just melt away for me, please. There we go. You can see, even though we've just like killed so many of them, there's still 2 left. 400 billion life on the prophetess over there, plus minus, and that's just insane. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, like I said, we're not going to continue this. We are going to go straight to the exit over there. That was fantastic. A nice what is that? A lot. That's 15 trillion damage on our light beam, and then the 5 trillion damage on heroic strike over there. Not many Soulstones. You do get a lot more from Endless than you do from Overlord. So if you were looking for minor Soulstones, that's how you get them. But as you can see, we got 72 of every single major Soulstone, a whole bunch of minerals. We only got 11 of the uncommon and 20 of these, but we are on curse 48. But there's the details for those who care. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.